Hello, lovely. I can't hear you.
Hey, how are you doing? Do you hear me okay?
Yes, I hear you okay.
Excellent, excellent. What is this here? Am I on two cameras? What's happening here? Okay, I just see something interesting here, but I'm gonna put the screen bigger and then all I see is you and life is good. How are you doing, mister?
Good, love. How are you doing?
Very good. I am, what a nice day. It's glorious. And so,
Yeah, we've had a few very nice days. We're
yes,
so lucky.
yeah, even the rain was beautiful and those storms and the lightning. I don't know if you know where I am, but I live like it's my view of that's the city of Toronto down there. And
Okay.
yeah, though I'd like to live like out in the forest somewhere, this will do. This will do for now.
You're in Mississauga?
Yeah, I'm right on the Etobicoke Creek. So Etobicoke's right, just honestly a stone's throw away. And yeah, I'm in Mississauga right on the edge. So yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it.
Yes, yes. So yeah, are we just talking now?
Yeah,
Okay.
you know what? I'll just tell you that, over the last 18 months, like, there's been so much change, right, in the world.
Yep.
And I've just seen that we've been trending towards online, like we've been forced towards online,
And it's
and this has just become like my response, like what am I going to do online that I can do online? Like what can I do online that I can do online? And I've interviewed people, I've had experience interviewing people, and that's what I've always done is I've just had dialogue with people, and I've just found that it's through dialogue that I've healed and fixed and changed my life. It's through dialogue with people that I've learned and grown, and I've had so many influencers in my life, and I've met so many wonderful people in my life, great friends of mine, people that are still in my circle. That why don't I just make the time and set it at a special time that I can try to kind of bring people to, and just promote that time. It's an opportunity for me to practice the skill of what the skill of being human. Like what is the human skill? The human skill is dialoguing with each other. The human skill is being friendly with each other. The human skill is kindness. The human skill is love. The human skill is relationship. That's what the human skill is. And if we can be more skillful humans, this is how we improve ourselves. This is how we improve our lives. It's through practice that we are the result of who and what we are. I am who I am by the things that I think and say and do. So if I change the things that I think and say and do, this is the way that I become someone else or become something else or change my life.
yep.
So I'm just modeling that. I'm just demonstrating that on a daily basis. I just make an effort to do the things that I think humans should do to make themselves healthy and well, which is what? Like move
Yes.
and breathe and be conscious
Yep.
and bookend your day with, happy, healthy thoughts and words
Yes.
and engage with each other in a happy, healthy way. And so this is all it is. It's just, on Saturdays, I like to try to set a time aside. This is a time where I'm going to practice, engaging with a friend. I'm going to try and have a call with a friend. I'm going to try and make an arrangement to speak with someone that I care about and someone that I think has valuable information to share. And Natalie, Natalie Uroda is a friend of mine that I met a decade ago in a very kind of fortunate, lucky way that we bumped into each other at a conference where we both had a common goal. And this is it. I went to the weekend workshop to try to make myself better, to make my business better, to make my life better, to improve my family life, to improve myself. And there she was there doing the same thing. So we had that in common. And when we come together with a common goal, there's power there. When two or more come together, there's power. So, let's just practice bringing ourselves together. Let's talk about it. Let's share. Let's come together and share what we've learned together. This is what it is. We come together, we share together, and if the things that we share with each other are valuable or beneficial to anybody else, then hey, wonderful, right? This is what I can do. This is what we can do.
I love it. And it's so interesting how you and I are very similar. I think we always knew that. Like, we obviously fitness and wellness is huge for us. Honoring the body is huge. Honoring the soul and the spirit is huge. And when, just everything I've even had this where I've had people come on and we just do something where we have enlightened conversations, and it's just like, I just want to see you and I want people to know who you are, and it's a showcasing. And I've kind of taken a hiatus on that just now, just because I'm like, you know what, people are coming into my life and it's happening. I don't have to do it. Like I'm actually like, where am I putting my effort? And that's kind of what this whole 18 months has shown for me. It's really brought down to like, where do I want to focus my energy? Because my energy is, it's funny, I just found out from somebody in the building, they're like, we call you the high energy girl. And I'm like, really? And I'm like, okay, that's not bad. And there's a lot of energy that can go out to all sorts of things and helping out lots of different people and doing things in all sorts of different projects. But I also found I was getting very scattered. So my energy was constantly getting out and being sent outwards. And only during COVID was I able to get out of all whatever was going on by going within. So I've actually really streamlined. I don't even know if I like the word streamlined, but just really chosen what it is I want to put my attention to. And what happens when you do that is things start to align and bring you more of exactly that. So I've been really focused on just, where do I want to put my energy? What's the thing to focus on right now? What am I being called to? And that's one of the biggest things that's happened as well during this time is I've really gotten quiet. When you get quiet, you can actually hear the voice that tells you what the next step is. So I've been just following that voice the past 18 months, and it's been leading me to some really, what? I didn't know I had to go that way. And fantastic. It's just been really amazing. So that's
Fantastic. I love that. And I'm already growing from what you said right there. Natalie, can you tell me who you are? Like, how do you describe yourself? Well, what would you say it is that you do? What is it that you do?
Well, it's interesting because that's probably one of the hardest questions. It's like, who am I? Like, what is it that I do? And for me, what's come very clear in the last while is I'm an uplifter. Like I uplift. If I'm in a grocery store talking to somebody, it's not about me leaving them better than I found them. It's about me just really getting to sense who they are and being able to find the points in them that I can strengthen in that interaction. Even if it's something just like bagging, I'll always speak to everyone. I'll always let them know they've been seen. Because I think so many people, especially nowadays with, the masks are just being fearful. People are sort of shutting down the connection ability, like what you were talking about, that skill to connect. And it's, whether by choice or whether it's just too much effort. People are saying the masks really don't allow us to connect. And I'm like, well, you can always tell in somebody's eyes whether they're present or they're not present. And so my eyes are always present. Like people are seeing all my wrinkles because I'm constantly smiling as hard as I can. Yeah, with the mask on. And so for me, it's all just about uplifting every moment. If a thought came to me just before I came on the call right now with you, I was just kind of getting myself freshened up a little bit. And it was really like what's very attractive was when people are at peace with the decisions and the choices that they make, regardless of the outcome. Like that's just, it came to me. And it's just like when somebody's at peace because they've compared the choices against their values, against their dreams, what they want, against, what their gifts are, when they know that the decision they've made is out of the best intention of what they know and what they desire. and hopefully a sense of humanity on there so that it benefits others. Well, that in itself is the most attractive thing, and that's what attracts people and energy for those projects and those lifestyles to come about. So that's kind of who I am, is I teach people how to sort of find themselves, find out who they really are and what they really want, and then I move them so that they feel very strong stepping forward into that reality. So I always say, I'm not sure, are you an Abraham Hicks person? Do you listen to Abraham Hicks?
Yeah, that's absolutely
You
yes.
are too, yeah. I always say I'm somebody who's standing at the cusp of the vortex. And as soon as that person looks up and wants in, I grab them and I throw them in. I'm just kind of grabbing people and throwing them into the vortex, because it's getting themselves really focused again on their core values, on their core gifts, on what they're here for doing. Because so many people are doing things that are absolutely out of their gifts because of fear. They're afraid that they're not going to make money, or they can't succeed at what they want to try. So the best example of this, and I love it, it just happened last night, that a client I'm working with right now, she sent me a message, and I usually talk to her on Mondays, and she sent me a message yesterday, and she's like, can I have 10 minutes of your time? And I'm like, oh, like, what's going on? She's, whatever. And so I'm like, yeah, by all means. And she called, and she was just like, so letting you know that I, today as of 2:30, was let go of my work with 2 other directors, and I couldn't be happier. And I'm sitting there going, yes, because she's absolutely changing her life. She knows that her work isn't satisfying. It's not fulfilling. Yeah, sure, it pays the bills. Sure, it absolutely allows the value of security, which if it's not based in love, if it's based in fear, the value of security means nothing. It just is something that's going to limit you. But when we got her, she was able to get to a point where she was feeling really confident. I got some, her gifts and all that ideology of what she wants to create. Her dreams came out in conversation. So her vision became into reality. So much so that she was able to get a severance package. And now she's going to go right into her work right now. And she's just like, I could not be happier. I'm absolutely thrilled. And she's like, it's because of the energy. I've focused all my energy on what it is I want to do, that just naturally it's happened in the most seamless and effortless and resistance-less way. She was embracing her work. She knew it wasn't her work, but she's like, there's values and gifts that I can use in my work, and all this stuff I'm going to work on as a side hustle. And now she gets to throw herself fully into doing it, and she's so excited. And just to be able to witness that and experience it, and kind of I guide people to that. I guide people to who they are and get them to really believe in themselves, borrowing my belief, so that when it's time for them, that they can walk forward without me, but knowing they have my support. So I kind of am like, first I pull you a little bit, and then I walk with you a little bit, and then I put you in front of me, and then I kick you in the butt, and I send you on your way to your own path, and so that you feel confident walking along it. So I like to say I fiercely guard the space of who it is you want to be, and I make sure you live in it. So that's what I do.
Awesome. I hear like alignment in what you're saying. Like I feel like what you're doing is, aligning yourself with your authenticity and helping other people to find alignment in their self and
Absolutely.
doing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what do you call it? I heard you call it something this week, and I really liked it. I thought it was wonderful.
I am certified as a professional coach, so I have all the designation required to be able to be part of the International Coach Federation. The school I went to, it's called IPEC, the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching, and what they taught us was core energy leadership. It's energy leadership. So this is where your energy, your physical energy, but it's physical energy is one thing, and that's, you and I know that, and we know what happens when it gets stuck. We know what happens when it feels good. We know what happens when there's not a lot of it. But there's emotional and mental energy, and I like to call it psychic energy. And this isn't psychic that you can telepathically do things, though we all have the ability to. But it's the psychic energy is what sort of comes from out of the emotion and the mind. And that's a lot of energy, as you know, like people who, for instance, experience anxiety and depression, that's powerful and it's energy. People who fall in love, that's energy. And so if you're not being conscious of the energy that you go through every single day, you don't know where you're directing it, you don't know where you're investing it. Well, energy is it's a renewable, sustainable, resource that we all have as individuals. And if we're investing it in places that it isn't going anywhere, or that we're not being aware of where it's going, it's going to cause a lot of stuckness in life and a lot of, feeling like we're not moving forward. And so if you're not being conscious of the energy that you go through every single day, you don't know where you're directing it, you don't know where you're investing it. Well, energy is it's a renewable, sustainable, resource that we all have as individuals. And if we're investing it in places that it isn't going anywhere, or that we're not being aware of where it's going, well, it's going to cause a lot of stuckness in life and a lot of lack of fulfillment, a lot of sadness, a lot of just real depression. And so for me, it is core energy leadership to be able to recognize what energy you're in right now. Where is it that you want to go? Is it a reasonable energy that you can reach right now? Is it something that maybe is the right energy? And listening to yourself through intuition, using your logic and using your emotion. Those are the 3 points that you've got to tap into anytime you're making any kind of decision. And it's practice and it's work. But when you get to a point where, I mean, I've been doing this now for probably as long as you and I have known each other, and it's effortless now. Like it's a real response to stimuli, the external stimuli, and that's being conscious of it, not just letting yourself react because of past patterns or because it's easier than to try and change. You know, people are afraid to change. They find it very embarrassing. They don't want to fail. They're scared. There's certain people will choose, and I'm overgeneralizing. My apologies, but it is quite likely people will choose discomfort, like the comfortable discomfort, rather than choosing what they really want and giving it a go because it's too scary and they don't know what's going to happen. They don't know what the outcome is going to be.
They'll choose what they know rather than, you know, the opportunity to create something better.
Yeah.
And I heard there, I heard that you didn't name it. Well, you called it the energy coach. Yeah. But I know you named it something else this week, and I really liked it.
Damn. I wondered. I don't. So what could it
be? Remember, you called it a wholeness.
It's a whole person wellness, like a
whole person wellness. What did you say?
I'm a specialist. Like
a whole person specialist.
A whole person wellness specialist.
A whole person wellness specialist. I really like that. I think that's a wonderful title. I really like that.
Well, I mean, I don't like necessarily calling myself a coach because there's just so much more that I can do, and I have.
Yeah. I know. As soon as you start to label anything, it starts to just crumble. As soon as you label it.
Yeah. When I went through my coaching program, there was a weekend where there was a huge segment about, okay, well, what kind of coach are you going to be? And I swear, John, I was like, I don't want to call myself anything.
Yeah.
Like, I have a degree in psychology that I did in university, honors psychology. And as soon as I heard people labeling, and I mean, yes, diagnosis and all that stuff, but that labeling is so strong that people are labeling like, you know, anybody, you know, that person over there is out of shape. Okay, they're out of shape, they're out of shape, they're out of shape. That's a lot of energy when you label somebody. So you better be damn strong and straight that you know what that label is before you place it on anyone. And that's for me. I don't like it. Label sounds a bit of a closed option. I like being open. I like letting opportunity for expansion, enlightenment.
Flow. Yes, we have to get
a label closes. A label closes.
Yes, I love that. So like, it's hard to identify ourselves. You know, I try to say I'm a self-love coach or a health and wellness expert.
You're more
like, you know, what do you call it? What do you call it that you're talking about? You're talking about energy. You're talking about relationship, right?
Yeah, so it's relationship to self, relationship to others, relationship to existence, relationship to your job, relationship to this. Like, so when you said I'm a business coach, I'm like, okay, like we were just like, okay, yeah, I can do that.
I met her at a business coaching workshop. That's where I met her. At a business coaching workshop. I know she called herself something else this week, but I couldn't remember the word that she said. I was trying to get to the word. What's that word you said it was this week? I really liked it. I'd rather use your words than try to put it into mine. But.
Yeah. That's what I call, like, that's what, in that time it was definitely an empowerment coach, and I do that as well. Like, I empower you to recognize who you are and stand boldly in who you are and move forward and enjoy the pants off yourself during life, because this is what it's all about. Like, my favorite quote is from a movie, and it's an older movie. It's called Anti-Mame. Rosalind Russell is the main actress and she plays Mame, and man, do I love her. She's my role model. And she says something where it goes, you know what? Life is a banquet and most poor suckers are starving to death. And I'm just like, amen. Like, you know, it doesn't mean you have to spend lots of money and do all kinds of things, but it's about really savoring and enjoying every moment so that the next moment is in alignment with that energy. And so I savor out of every moment. Like I do. It's I will smile all the time because I'm so grateful that I'm here. You know, there's different Zoom calls or things that I'm on and everybody's just like, and I'm like, come on, you're giving me your energy. Show me what
true. So true about you. This is so true about you. Smiling and having high energy. This is this
always
is what I know about you, Natalie. This
way
is
that I
what I.
serve humanity, I uplift. So this is what I do, and I love helping people through coaching. I love people through. I've just gotten involved in supplements with this for gut microbiome, which that came again very. I'm telling you, John, like it was before my 47th birthday, March 1st, and I just was sitting there, and I had some backache, and I was feeling kind of like the. And I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to be doing? And all of a sudden, I heard gut health, and I went, okay, gut health. Let me crack into some leaky gut syndrome information that I have and see what I need to do. And ended up falling into the hands of another mentor of mine. And I like how I said another one because I do consider you somebody that I watch and follow, which is great. And she just has got me going on with that. So between my coaching, my fitness classes are on hiatus right now. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. I feel like I need to move into something else that's more body movement. Whether it's rhythm or not rhythm, whether it's self rhythm, I'm not sure what's going to happen. But universe knows, God knows, source knows, and I just sit and wait and I let myself relax into it. And when I do, then the opportunity comes up without me even needing to look for it.
Awesome. So just some words that I also pulled out of what you said today. I met you a year ago, and I heard you talking about logic and emotion. I really like that. That I feel I feel masculine and feminine.
Well, yeah, and beautiful. And when masculine and feminine, so it's logical, emotional, and then spiritual. Because when those two are, I won't say they don't need to be balanced in terms of, it's like the yin yang. It's the line that walks. It's the way. Sometimes we go a little more masculine. Sometimes we go a little bit more feminine, and it's sometimes go into the logical. Sometimes go into the creative chaos. And if we're finding ourselves in one way too much and not balancing in other ways, like this has to do with the right and left hemisphere. Like if it's one way all the time, if people are working finance and they're not finding ways to be creative, it's going to cause a very feeling of stagnant, stuck, very low energy life because there's not the whole gamut of the continuum that's being experienced. Like so many people are on one side of the continuum, it's being closed, it's not allowing for flow. It's like, I'm just going to be the darkness, I'm just going to be the creative, I'm just going to be the chaos. But then you miss out on this awesome logic, the boundaries, the container that allows for this to fill in so nicely. And that's what I like to be able to teach people as well. And when you have that feeling of the balance between feminine and masculine, you've got spirituality right there. There's nothing better than that beautiful fulfillment of wholeness.
Wonderful. Another thing that I pulled out of your talk, we met 10 years ago, and you talked about like practice. Like you say, over the 10 years you've been practicing this, and this has become like natural for you now to try to work on that logic and emotion, and to be able to move between the two and find some sort of, like you said, doesn't necessarily have to be balanced all of the time, but you've recognized that this is a movement between kind of my logic and my emotion, and through practice you've become better at doing this. And I heard that one.
Yeah, well, it's everything. I mean, even with the energy leadership, so I've got fluff flying around me. That's what happens when you're up high, because pollen is all over. And so with everything, I mean, even with core energy leadership coaching, basically what the basis of that is, there are 7 levels of energy that exist in us every day. And it's everything from level 1, which is the lowest level of energy, and that is considered victim energy. And victim energy is the, why me? Why does this happen to me? Like, it's always my fault, that kind of energy, all the way up to level 7. And that's why my show is called Level 7 Living, because I love being able to have people where there's a connection to source. It's a connection to your passion. You're living in your gifts. It's that time when you're, doing something and it feels like 5 minutes has gone by, but it's been 3 hours because you're absolutely in your gift. And then there's a gamut of levels right in between there. And throughout the day, you're going up and down like a stock market. It's like, okay, I feel great. Oh no, okay, I'm good now. And you're kind of like, okay, I'm feeling, this happens to me often. And whether I connect with the collective or it's just my own mood or whatever's going on, but it's like, oh my God, like I'm feeling really like bummed and down. Like, what's happening? And I, can think about it, and sometimes just doesn't go anywhere. And then other times it's just like, okay, what's my energy now? Okay, it's level 1, 2, and 2 is conflict, 1 is victim. So it's like, okay, where do I want to be? I like to give myself maybe like a little bit of 5 or 6. Okay, I'm not right there, but 4 is love. So let me go take a bath. Let me go just soak my feet, or let me just like listen to some, Abraham Hicks, or just sort of meditation and just soothe myself in the moment. And then you'll find your energy goes up right away. So it's things like that where it's like, Why am I getting upset? Why am I in this mood? And is there a good reason for it? And it's not like, don't like saying good reason for it, but is there a good excuse? Is there a good reason why I'm feeling this? And if there is, do I want to stay in here? And sometimes I do. It's like, you know what? I want to be pissed off. I want to be angry. I want to be able to, allow myself to express this emotion. And other times it's like, you know what? It's not where I want to be right now. It's draining me. I'm getting exhausted. It's not firing me up. So I want to switch. And it's being aware of these levels of energy and being able to switch that. Once you know level 7, then you are able to go up and down the ladder of the emotions and the energy as awesome as you can, going like a hot knife through butter. You're just like, oh shit, everything's going crazy, but I'm okay because I know it's gonna be all right. Like it's back and forth, and it's just it's a real, again, confidence in self. It's a real understanding of who I am, and I love teaching that to people as well. And it's I love working with my clients, and I love catching up with them and seeing how they're still doing the work. And some days it's hard, and it's the best hard work that anybody can ever do when they can understand themselves best and know how to, the word's not hack, but understand, and then be able to quickly practice so that you can move quicker and quicker through the transitions that life gives you that you don't want to stay in.
And that's a practice, like you say, the work. Like this is it, doing the work. Like everyone, I say, you got to pick up your cross. You got to pick up your responsibility. You've got to pick up, the things that you need to do. Like we all have things that we need to do, and some of the things we like more than others. And but this is my life, and I've got to kind of pick up my life and put it on my back and practice being nice to my life for the day. This is like,
yes. Like we're blessed. Like look at this. Like look what we're talking about. Look where I'm sitting. Look where you're sitting. Like abundance is here, and it's not about the money. I mean, prosperity is absolutely, it's a God-given right for us all. We all have the right to be prosperous. And for anybody, I mean, this is new for me. The most new for me is my financial. When I finished my coaching program, or when I was doing it, pardon me, we did something known as the Wheel of Life. And I don't know if you've ever used the Wheel of Life, that tool where it's all the different aspects of life. They actually also call it the Wellness Wheel. So if you look up Wellness Wheel, or I think that's what it is on Google, or the Wheel of Life, it's all the segments of life, everything from like, health and fitness to aging to social to intimate relationships to career to finance and to spirituality. Like there's about 9 of them or 7 of them. I can't recall right now. But my lowest satisfaction rang in the intimate relationships. I had just gotten out of my relationship with my daughter's father, and it was a lot of insecurity, a lot of whatever came from there, financial, because
when was that, Natalie?
This was in 2011 was when we separated. 2013, I was let go from Tim Hortons as their corporate wellness specialist. They did it. That was in Oakville, Ontario. They had a big, huge restructuring. They've never restructured before, and half the company was let go, and I was one of them. And I was very grateful. Like I wanted my severance because it was time for me to do my own thing. And so it was the career, the financial was obviously scary for me at that time because that's when I ended up doing my coaching. And then the last one was spirituality. Those were my 3 low satisfaction areas. And spirituality was popped right up so quickly. And I was just like, because I'm like, I can trust again. I can believe, like many people I'm sure have experienced. I was brought up Catholic. And then there was a point in I think I was 8 years old, and my aunt in Croatia had passed away, my mom's sister, of breast cancer. And it was a very hard thing. She left behind 2 kids who were under the age of 12. And I remember my mom saying, there is no God that would do this. And I went, okay. Like I was little. I'm like, okay, there is no God that would do this. This is horrible. Like, and I didn't shut down. I didn't block. I didn't hurt. It just was not something that I followed until probably about Evangeline being born. And that's when you met her, met me, was when I just had Evangeline at that time. We're in that same magazine together. I don't know if you remember, you're on the back cover and I'm in the middle, one of the Defying Nurse magazines. So I would say, John's in my magazine. and so yeah, that was the spirituality. And now intimate relationships, I'm in a fantastic, beautiful, again, God whispered in my ear and said, he's here, and I found him. But the financial now, that's my biggest thing, where it's just like, okay, you know what? Prosperity is my right. Why am I denying myself?
And abundance? Yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
I can be upset about how money is used and how there's greed and all that stuff, and money is bad and all that.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm like, but it doesn't make any sense because it's not logical. If I deny money, but I've never had a lot of it to complain about it. So let me make a lot of money, and then, or let's see how abundant I can get. And then
Yes,
what
yes.
do I can say, no, money's not good.
And let me wish abundance to you, love. Let me wish you all the abundance in the world. Like, I hope you find all of the abundance in the world. I hope,
have
I
it.
really bless you with abundance. I wish you find it. And I want to wish abundance to everyone else out there who's watching. I wish you all abundance.
Everybody, abundance in love, abundance in like prosperity,
Abundance in love,
financial
abundance in
abundance, in, like it's health. Health is wealth. Like it's abundance is available. And if I can have abundance in my all my other areas, financial abundance is I'm got that energy, like I'm going to attract it. And so it's like working on, that's the biggest stuff that I've been working on all of last year, and just leading up to it as well, is like, why am I blocking it? Why am I blocking this? Abraham says, you know, you can't get sick enough to heal those that are sick. Like it's you being sick isn't going to help anyone. So me being poor is definitely not going to be helping anybody. So it's like, come on, shake it up a little bit and let's go. So,
What do I need to learn? What do I need to know? What am I misunderstanding? What haven't I learned yet? What haven't I realized yet? How am I blocking myself? What could I, how could I change? What could I do differently? Like just,
or like, what do you want me to do? How do you want to move through me? How do you want me to experience this? And, you know, before I had met Andy, I was like, you know what, God, you know what I want. You know, I've been dating people and it's not going so good. You know what's working, you know what's not working. Go ahead and find him. And if I'm not supposed to have him, then I'm not. And I'll be okay with that. And that's what I am now too. It's like, you know what? Let's do this. Let me hit those high targets I've always, you know, dreamt of or anything like that. Let's see what's going on. And if that's not meant to be, you know, okay, but I'm going for it. Like, let's go and do this. And so
I
and
like
it's
it.
happening. So I'm very, very grateful and very appreciative of the journey is the best part. It really, really is.
I love it. And some things that I pulled out, I'm gonna ask about Andy in just a minute, but
I see, I do that.
well, that's on the side. Just a second, I heard that. I heard that you can't, you're asking yourself things and listening to within. You listen, you asked yourself about what is wrong with my back, and you heard microbiome. You're asking yourself, you know, what do I need to change with regards to my health and wellness and my abundance, rather than sitting in the you know, the lack and being upset about the lack. And we can all do this. And I'm not putting, I do this too. We lament and yes, you know, but it's not to stay there, right? It's to, you know, at some point, like move out of the lament and move to this type of questioning the self. And then I heard you, like, you heard, like, what does this mean? Like, you heard microbiome? Like, what does this mean?
Very interesting. So when, okay, so I'll go back because it was definitely from, I mean, I'm hearing the voice, like voice. With Andy's the best example. That it was the strongest, most pronounced example in, like, I've had obviously whisperings. We all get whisperings. The voice, you know, the soul speaks quietly, and if we're never taking time to listen to it, we'll always bypass. But it'll always talk. We just maybe not hear it. But with that whole thing, I had just come out of a relationship. Just finished doing, somebody took me through the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I'm not an alcoholic, and I do smoke pot every now and then, but it's not something that I consider any kind of addiction. I don't have an addiction like in that kind of sense. But what I had a mentor of mine that I was working with, and he was the founder of All Addictions Anonymous. And you know him, we had an interview too that was really weird how it didn't work out, but nonetheless. And so he took me through the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and what that was the biggest, strongest reconnection of me to source. I mean, as I said, the past 10 years, it's been me with source, me with spirit, me with God, me with universe. Like, it's been growing, growing, growing. But right then and there, it's like, I can finally just let go and let God, like, really do that. Like that, let go and let God. I'm like, I cannot, I can be more appreciative of everything. I can really just, you know, savor the moments. I don't need to rush through it and create my own agenda and move through it. This is not about me. This is about me being part of spirit, me being part of the source, me being, you know, one facet of what is, and that is, you know, beautiful. And so it was 2019 in February that I had just finished a relationship, and it was my choice to be like, you know what, this isn't going anywhere. This is just physical, and though physical is lovely and whatever, it doesn't matter. That for me is not what I want. I want to not, why am I settling? That's the thing. Why am I settling? I deserve more. I want more. And so that's when I had the conversation where I just went, you know what, you choose. You choose, God. You let me know what, you know, I just want the person to fit. I just want the person to fit because I'm a single mom. I'm a busy entrepreneur. I'm like lots of energy. I'd love somebody to be able to relax me, but whatever. And so it was that whole summer. I didn't look. I wasn't like looking for anyone. I wasn't desiring. I just kept building myself up. Like, how do I love myself more? How wonderful will it be when there is somebody here who might want to watch this movie with me, or who's going to want to pick up garbage with me in the forest, like who's going to want to do things like that with me. And it was October of that year, 2019, that a friend of mine invited me to her Halloween party. And I was like, okay, I want to go. And none of my friends could go. So I was going to go to this alone. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to this alone. And all I heard one time was like, he's going to be there. He's going to be there. And I went,
voice again.
he's going to be there. Like, and I'm like, okay, like, you know, I'll get dressed up and I don't know who he's going to be. And ended up going to this party alone and came in and everyone's in costume. So I don't know who anybody is. I don't know that many people anyway. And I look over at this guy sitting up against the counter and he's got a top hat and a black suit with a skeleton paint on his face. And I'm like, Andy? So Andy and I went on one date in 2018. And both of us were like, no way. Like we both were, no. Like it's not for me. This person's not for me. But when I saw him at the Halloween party, we just started talking and it was easy and it felt almost like coming home. And I was talking to him and he was just like, he was thinking, wow, she's being really nice to me for me ghosting her. And I was thinking, wow, he's being really nice to me for me ghosting him. And so, and from then we just kept talking and found more and more in common. I was ready to just let me give this a chance and a try. Like my thing and me being in health, and I'm not sure if all health people feel this way, but for me, a deal breaker was always if the person smoked, I'm just not going to be interested. I don't like the smell. I don't like the choice of doing that to your body. It just doesn't resonate with my values. And so when, you know, with him, I said, you know what, I'm going to put my ego aside and just try because for some reason I've got to do this. And that very day, New Year's 2020, he stopped smoking. He quit smoking and didn't smoke again. And that was on our first date. So it was really great that he did that and we're together and it's divine.
Oh,
He
so
fits.
nice.
He fits.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's it. And
I
it
wondered when this was going to happen.
yeah, I know. And we're all waiting for Natalie to find a guy, and then we found him. And it's
I wonder who this guy is going to be.
appreciation. It's just really, you know, kindness, and it just fits. Like we're having a great time.
Oh,
We
wow.
just discovered disc golf, and so we go and play frisbee golf every week. Like,
Oh,
it's really fun.
cool.
So it's
Wow.
and nothing, you know, and we're ready to grow with each other because that's what we both had to do to get to where we are, from where we were in 2018 to where we are now. It's two different people because we've been working on ourselves and we've been allowing the flow, and the flow took us together. And that's a really cool thing.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I heard, you know, I asked about the voice and what I heard was trust and faith. I felt was where this is. It's like you're letting go of, yeah, I want to be abundant and I want to have a man in my life and I want him to be the right man in my life. But rather than trying to force it and rather than worrying about not having it and rather than being upset that I don't have it, it's like I'm just like letting God have it and like I'm just trusting that God is preparing him and I or whatever needs to be prepared for it to happen. So there's like a letting go, like, you know, I can't like carry this any longer. I just need to finally, like, I need to just release it and just trust that, you know, it's in process and feel the result of that process. How would I feel if I was?
Well done. That's it. Like, and being in that feeling, being that emotion, the term is radical acceptance. And this was a big thing for me that I learned in 2016. 2016 was, I call it my blood diamond year. It was the year before I was had a breast cancer scare. In 2015, I ended up again Halloween, and all of a sudden I look down and like my nipple is bleeding, and I'm like, what? Like, what's happening? And I remember it being such a. My daughter and I just had a virus that was quite bad. It was called fifth disease or slap cheek syndrome. If anyone ever has heard of that, the kids get really like red in their cheeks. They don't have appetite, fever, and so she missed the first month of school in 2015. And I got it, but it's not the same for adults. You feel like an 80-year-old, your joints hurt. And I'm like, how am I going to keep teaching classes and like working with my clients when I'm exhausted all the time? And she got better after a month, and I thought I got better. But what happened was I kind of coughed. They weren't related, but I coughed and I looked down and I'm like, what's happening? And I'm like, oh, and I remember going, okay, universe, that's going on now. Like, it's a real acceptance of like, okay, universe, whatever, I'm open to whatever story you want me to have. I'm open to whatever journey you need me to be. And this radical acceptance came in 2016 because not only was there a breast cancer scare, which everything was fine, but my dad and I were selling a house in Toronto that we have the house we had in Toronto. It's not like we have lots of houses, but anyway, and he's construction, so he was redoing it, remodeling it. Thought we'd jump on the hot market in 2016, and what happened was he ended up getting near fatal meningitis. So ended up in the hospital and he almost passed. So for months he was in ICU. The house stayed open. So I'm paying mortgage and I'm paying the money for this place here. And it just was like, I'm not working. How am I going to do this? And it brought me into such a low, depressed energy. Like I was absolutely level 1 energy. I had no kick for anything. It almost came to apathy. And I had enough energy to bring my daughter to the bus stop. And then I'd come home, sleep and cry. And then I'd go pick her up at the bus stop. And that was my day every day until I finally was like, okay, God, I'm done. What do you want me to do? And I ended up creating a program for myself called 6 Weeks to Solid Ground. And basically with any discretionary energy I had any day, if I wrote a list of like, okay, drink 8 glasses of water, okay, stretch for 15 minutes, like anything that could take me out of that energy if I had the energy to get out of it. And as soon as I wrote that down and I created it on my whiteboard, I got a phone call and there was an ask if I could come volunteer for a weekend business development program, not the one you and I met at, but somewhere else where it just flooded and opened up a whole new world of clients, of a business for my coaching, of some of the best friends I have right now, Ashley, who you met, that's kind of through that sort of way. Like there's just so much stuff that opens up when you have radical acceptance. And the quote that I'm going to say before I stop talking this thing is, everything will be okay as soon as you're okay with everything. And it doesn't mean that you sit and you take it up your ass. It doesn't mean that you just kind of grin and bear it. It means like, okay, I'm okay with everything that it is in this particular moment. Like I'm not resisting, I'm not pushing, I'm not doing anything. I'm okay with this. Now, where do I want to go? Rather than focusing in the moment and just holding and closing and not letting the flow happen. I'm okay. Everything will be okay as soon as I'm okay with everything. And that's definitely what's taken me through the last 18 months as well. So
this is an acceptance. This is radical acceptance of things as they are. This is the steps towards love, I like to say. Acceptance, forgiveness, forgiveness of self, forgiveness of the other. And these are the steps I say towards love. Yes.
perfect. Perfect. That's exactly it. So
awesome. Awesome. So I see lots of parallel there. So let's go a little bit further here. What are you doing with your nutrition?
what am I doing with my nutrition? So
and we can talk, and we can get into the supplements too, but let's talk a little bit about
what am I doing with my nutrition? So it's interesting. Meatless May just happened, and my daughter just kind of like, we're done. We're going meatless May, and then we're going to go thereafter. So we have released meat.
Oh, nice. Wonderful.
I'm okay with it. Like, it's so interesting because I've done it a few times in the past where I've been vegetarian. I've done veganism for about 6 months, and unfortunately I wasn't at the right time.
Yes.
And the fact that I have like my daughter now that, she's very wise, she's very aware, and she's made the decision.
Yes, it's how it started in my family, was through my daughter too. Exactly. Yes.
Exactly. And so like, okay, I kind of already practiced at this. Interesting that I say that, practiced at this. And for us, it is definitely the energy of the sentient being, the information that I received from you years ago about the levels of energy in the in the meat that's deceased and in milk. There's not very much energy that transfers into us, so there's really no sense to it. And for me, there was always, even before you and I spoke, but just you know, the mass marketing and the energy of these animals that are like, it just is not natural. It's just not natural the way that things are machined and
Yes,
farmed and all
yes,
that.
the factory farming, the hormones
And
and
a
the,
lot of hormones and fear, and we're eating it.
yes, right. We can't eat that. That's not right. No, it shouldn't be.
In
Yeah.
my opinion,
Yeah,
like
right, right.
my family, there's, you know, meat eaters and whatnot, and I will not deny them their experience.
Right, right. And it doesn't even need to be elimination. Like even I think even just reduction, right? Like let's if the whole world went half meat, it would be wonderful. Like this would be great.
It'd be wonderful for so many reasons.
Yeah.
And honoring of the meat would be amazing.
Yes, so many reasons for so many things on the planet.
I know, and that's, and yeah, the environment for sure. I am
Yes.
certified as a holistic nutritionist, so the whole, there's one book and I can't recall what it is, but I can definitely send it after. And it was just like, it's all business and it's all like quotas being met here and things being met there, and
Meat and dairy, yes, yes.
it's just become very complicated and you know, very very unconscious, very mindless, very money driven, and not
Mhm.
money, and again, nothing's wrong with money, but very finance driven, very fear based. And the whole
Mhm.
fear based, like, I really was and continue to hope that this whole pandemic shakes things up a bit, and it shakes people out of their comfort zones and gets them to really go after, this is an amazing time. This is a time where we can mold what it is that we want to create. Like, we can just really, with the chaos, there's creation. And so there's chaos for 18 months and there's still chaos that continues. I mean, there's people are like, yeah, it's going to be normal. I'm like, what are you wishing for? like make sure you're wishing wisely. Don't just go, I want it to be back to normal, because it's too uncomfortable to be forced to change. Well, guess what, baby? Change is what all there is. Like, there's nothing stays the same. Nothing stays the same. So,
Acceptance of change.
and embracing of change and
Yes.
embracing of the uncertainty. Like I always say, befriend the uncertainty, befriend it. Like, as soon as you're okay with that, not sure what's going to happen, well, then things will go. And again, I'm not perfect at this at all. I can get stuck and be like, why am I not doing these things? Like even this call today, I'm like, I should let more people know about it. And I think when you post it, you'll let me know, and then I will share people. And it's just like, what it's because I'm going in the flow and my flow isn't always about, you touched upon earlier. Some things I just don't, it's not in my flow, but I know I have to do it in order to get the right myself in front of people. I know I need to get in front, like for this conversation that's meaningful, to be put in front of people who perhaps are not.
This is it. Just having a meaningful conversation is beneficial for us to have the dialogue, for us to listen to each other, is how we grow and how we change. And for other people that may be listening, they take something away from the things that we're saying. I think it's very important. And it's just a practice, right?
Yeah, and it's just the energy we have now. Like, I feel great, and that's going to just reverberate to everybody else around me. So this is a good thing. It's a good thing. So yeah.
A good healthy practice. Wonderful. I'm glad.
Yeah.
So you've moved towards vegan. I love it. And this is me too, trending in that way towards vegan. And I'm not perfect vegan either. Like sometimes I have butter and sometimes I have cheese and sometimes I have Parmesan and sometimes I have feta. And so like I don't think you need to be perfect. It's just, this is the thing, is that we're trending in this way is towards less. It's not about elimination. It's about reduction of the things in our life that we would like to lessen in our life. And there's other parts of our life that we'd like to grow in our life. So this is a practice of.
It's an awareness too. The awareness makes it so much better. Like it just makes it so much. I think that's what happened in the past where I'm like, yeah, I want to be vegetarian. Why? Well, because I think I need to, and now it's at the point where I'm like, wow, it's just so aligned. And the fact that my 11-year-old's bringing it up to me, oh, she's going to be 11. She's bringing it up to me, and she's she's not being, we're watching. I'm making sure she's not dogmatic about it as well, because I don't want her to be closed. But I'm like, man, they don't want to not have meat, so we have to honor them. And she's getting it. So it's fun.
Awesome. And then you mentioned supplements, like you talked about the microbiome, like that this
Oh, yeah, that one too, John. So as I said, it's neat that when you mentioned about how, not sitting and festering in the low parts. So when COVID hit, I immediately just was called. It was interesting because a couple of weeks before then, so early March, I'm like, I kind of maybe want to start teaching classes from my bedroom because I have a big bedroom and I want to be able to just lead some classes, maybe put them on YouTube. I don't know why, but I want to set this up. So I already had a mental idea of what I was going to do. And then COVID hit, and it was literally like, set everything up, get the camera going. Okay, Tuesday. So the Monday of the March break I was like, okay, I was still practicing things Tuesday. And from that first Tuesday of the pandemic, when everything was shut down, so it was during March break for the kids, till September, end of September, I taught 5 days a week, free classes, so that the community on Facebook would be able to have a place to go to. And it was neat because people from my elementary school were coming, like they found me again. And it was just really kind of really fun. What had happened though was that I stopped taking care of myself. Like there was a point where maybe around August, I'm like, I'm kind of getting tired of this, but until something else comes, I just have to keep doing this. People are, I wasn't getting paid. People did make contributions, but I was doing that. And I kind of am like, I think I'm missing out on the law of reciprocity here a little bit. And it started creating some energy levels that were lower, like a level 2, like, come on, like I'm getting resentful. Why are people not giving more? And I'm like, but I'm not asking. And so there was a lot of mental stuff going on. And what happened outrightly was my back started really hurting. So doing even stretches that used to help my back and feel so good, it's just, it felt horrible. And so it started on the journey of healing. So I stopped in October and said, sorry guys, I'm taking a sabbatical. And I stepped away and was like doing more yoga, but it wasn't helping. So I went for blood tests just to make sure everything internal was okay. I did some ultrasound. I went for x-rays. I went to, I got acupuncture. I did a chiropractic physiotherapy treatment, and it was getting a little bit better marginally. And then New Year, I ended up just kind of doing my own thing, relaxing. And I went back to do one of my classes, and it probably was towards middle of February. I went back and I'm like, holy crap, I can't do this. And I'm watching myself on the screen and I'm like, wow, she's really good. And then I started getting really sad that at the end, I had my legs crossed, the head in my hands, and was crying and going, I can't do that anymore. And it was a real kind of like, okay, like I can, again, what you said, I can sit here and feel sorry for myself, or I can figure something else out. So I was already doing a lot of deep meditation most days anyhow at that point. I was doing my studies, so I'm letting you know that in a couple of weeks I should be receiving my certificate, my degree in metaphysics. So I've got my bachelor's degree in metaphysics now, and I am blessed to know that I'm ordained as a minister in metaphysics. So I'm very keen on that, and I can't wait to see what that's going to bring. I don't know. But yeah, I just was like, okay, what do I have to do? So the meditation was all exactly what you said. Okay, like I'm not working out as much. My body's changing. Like I'm definitely going through perimenopause, like whatever. What am I supposed to do? Like, what's the focus? What do I need to do? And I meditated, and all I heard was gut health. And so I'm like, okay, gut health. All right, I know this. I know about what's going on. Absolutely. That's why my gut is leaky and my belly is bloated and I'm getting all foggy. And like, it was just so clear. And so I'm like, I got to go back to my school books. And I'm like, I don't want to go back to my school books. This just seems like a resistance thing. And so then I started talking to some other people, and I heard there were people doing water cleanses. So I'm like, send me some information. And then I heard somebody talk about they sold human growth hormone. And I'm like, okay, like send me some information. And then I kind of, people talked about isogenics, and I was like, oh, send me some information, but nothing really pulled on me until I connected with my really good friend, Monique McDonald. She is the founder of Discover Your Sacred Gifts, which is, again, divinely brought to her, where people find their gifts. I'm certified as a guide. And so I'd run the program as well. And I was calling her because I'm like, I'd like to do an interview, just like how you and I are doing, John. I'd like to do an interview so that people get to know who you are. And then you keep drinking this pink drink. I see this pink drink on Facebook. What are you drinking? Like, tell me what you're doing. And she goes, it's all about gut health. It's focused on the gut microbiome. And I went, tell me more. And within 2 weeks, boom, 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 I signed up, started taking it. I've hit a pretty decent rank in the company already. Looking for more for sure. And I'm already noticing a lot of people with lower inflammation. People are losing. It's because it's working on, it's prebiotic, it's all plant-based. So I'm very, very, very grateful for that. And it basically feeds, weeds, and seeds the gut, because as we know, with the antibiotics, with stress, with just diet, and so many people just don't realize how we have 5 pounds. Remember I said that 5 pounds, and it's probably the most important, well, it is the most important 5 pounds for longevity. I mean, your brain is great and we want it to keep working, but if your gut is unhealthy, it's going to affect your brain. It's going to affect
5 pounds at least.
At least, and that's it. And so many people have less, because any antibiotics you take doesn't just wipe out the bad stuff that's making you feel unwell. It takes everything out. And we need those bacteria, we need that fungi, we need that stuff inside of us in order to digest nutrients, in order to create nutrients. Like, we can't create vitamin K, like it has to happen through the waste of these bacteria eating the undigested food, which is fiber. And so many people just don't understand the symphony and the mechanism that the body is like. You can just get lost inside yourself. Like, it's amazing how everything runs and works. And the gut microbiome, like it seems to be that everyone who's been coming to me is like, yeah, I've just been hearing and learning about it. I'm like, you have gut health? Okay, let's do it. And so, and it's just, again, for me, it's been a godsend, like sleeping better. Andy doesn't even snore, but I'm a highly sensitive individual, high energy, right? And so if I hear like a cat walk into the room and their toenail is a little bit long, I'd wake up and be like, what's the noise that I'm hearing? And now I can actually sleep through the entire room, bed at night, that Andy and I wake up and I'm like, you're still here. And he's like, you're still here. And so it's kind of funny to be able to have that peace of mind, that relaxation, and that knowing that even Evangeline has the product. She's taking the supplements, Andy's taking it. So I don't mind if they're having their sugars and all that stuff, because they're not as aware as I am, getting there for sure. But if they want their cheats and stuff, I know that the glucose is getting metabolized properly. I know that things are working for anti-inflammation. So I'm just very grateful that, again, it came. There was no choice for me to say no. It'd be ridiculous if I did.
Awesome. And I'll correct that. When you were talking about the 5 pounds, I thought you were talking about the human waste, the fecal waste that's stuck in most people's mouths. I mean, most of us have more than 5 pounds.
That's what, yes. No, 5 pounds is what a healthy average adult has of the bacteria, the amount. We have a whole world living inside of us that is not part of who we are, but it is. It's a symbiotic relationship. And it's like, I thought of this one day and I'm like, it's like us on the earth. If Mother Earth could give us something to make us all feel better, wouldn't she? And she does give it to us. We just don't listen. For me, I want the bacteria inside me to be as happy as they can be, because when they are, then I'm working healthy and I'm working happy as well. So, and then, yeah, it's a fun, I'm meeting a lot of people, and it's so fun because my friend Monique is a 64-year-old retired nurse. And so all her friends are all these retired nurses, and they're all these lovely older ladies. And that's how my daughter is, just like, they're like all older people, and everyone seems so happy and healthy. And I'm like, I know. And it's a good thing. I want that kind of life for me too. So yeah, it's good.
50 and fit, 50 and fabulous. The 50 is not a barrier that we can't be healthy.
We're just getting started, man. Like, this is the best part about it. I said that to Andy. I mean, he's 50 and we just met now. Like, we're so grateful because, when we're together, we feel like we're back in our 20s or teens even. And it's like, we have the rest of our lives to experience this. And I'm grateful for every moment now. I don't know how you feel, John, but everyone around me is like, time's going by so fast. And I'm like, absolutely not. Like, I'm savoring every moment. So it's not going by fast because nothing like that. It's being aware. Being aware is the best gift you can give yourself.
Just being more moment to moment awareness. So you can get more out of life just by, being more present and aware during your days, right? Just more conscious.
Of course, do you hear me well? Like, you probably hear the noise outside, but.
No, nope. Sound is fine. Wonderful.
I'm like, of course it has to happen.
So I mean, you've touched on the exercise. I think it's something, it's a part of me and my life and my program and the things I practice and the things I talk about. What's your exercise regime, frequency, duration, intensity?
Good question. So as I mentioned, I'm still dealing with my two mildly bulging discs. So it was an MRI that I had early Easter Monday morning. And knowing that there were 2 bulging discs, I was happy because for that whole month from October till Easter, I didn't know what was going on. So I'm amazed. And again, it's all about the radical acceptance that I wasn't pulling my hair out. I wasn't like, why am I not able to exercise? And oh my God. And I mean, I'm a physical person. I've been physical all my life, like softball in elementary school, like always doing everything. And this is the first time I've ever been so stopped in what's going on in my life. And it was okay. It was like a sort of rest period. So now I am picking up. My friend is she sells vibrating plates, those vibrating plate machines.
I have a vibrating plate.
Yeah, exactly. And so I have two of them. I have the bigger, the company's T-zone. And so I've got the bigger T-zone and I have the smaller one that's for exercise and stuff. And so because I'm sort of limited, I've been using it and it's been phenomenal. And I still do my walks. I want my cardio. I want to be out there. I have been doing some runs, but I have to take it easy a little bit. And so I'm right now, the big focus for me is to make sure that I'm just moving. So if I can say what's regular for me is daily, if not twice or 3 times a day, just dancing. So I put on the radio and or choose a song that I want and I just start dancing. It's that break at work. Okay, I'm taking a break. Let me just get up. I'll go in the kitchen, get something to do, and I just dance. I just dance and I move around.
Just moving, just practicing movement. This is it. Yeah, it's not about this ripping the body apart, right? Like
I'm done with it. Like, but I still want to do some Tough Mudders. When I'm done with it, like I still would love to be able to do that. But I don't need to. Like it's asking for me to be more gentle. And I was interesting. I know you could relate. I believe it's you know, I've honored my body. I always have, but I've treated it more like a racehorse than a part of who I am. It's like, yeah, I can do this. Like, let me push. I can always push. I can always push. Okay, yeah, I like success. And now it's like, I don't think I'm there anymore. Like, I can't see that. I mean, certainly I'm not physically able to at this moment. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know if that's even where I want. And what I do love is I'm literally, again, with the gut microbiome stuff, I'm healing from the inside out. I mean, I've always had kimchi and kefir and all these fermented things for myself that I've wanted to kind of feed those guys. That's the mentality I had behind it. But now with this stuff, like, I'm like, my energy's up. I'm feeling great. I still want to have the skill of endurance. I still want the skill of strength. I believe that is the whole thing. Like, wellness is flexibility, stability, strength, and endurance. You need all those things. I want to be a healthy person so I can handle whatever comes my way in the physical realm. However, I can't do the things that I did at this time. So it's like, what can I do? And it can be gentle and it can be moving.
yes, lovely. And the body stops us, doesn't it? This is what happens. Is my body just stopped me. I couldn't, it broke, like my body broke. Pain came in my body.
Right in half. It's true. It's true. And I again, I love seeing people run. I live right by a ravine and people are dashing around and I'm like, oh, I love it. Keep doing it and make sure you're doing it out of love. Like, you can be, again, the wellness continuum is illness and it's like optimal health. And there can be somebody who looks like they're facing, that they look like they should be facing that way. They're running, they're very healthy physically, but they're going that way. And I think for last year, at the end of it, I probably was facing the illness way and I wasn't paying attention because I still was strong and I was able to move and I could make people happy, but what was I doing for myself? And now I'm, again, listening a lot.
Practicing for ourselves. And it's a coaching disease to be doing it for everybody else and not for, this is a mother disease as well. Too.
Moms and dads, some dads as well, but it's everything for everyone else. That's who I tend to coach, is when they stand up for everyone else and they forget themselves. And you need to be reminded who you are, because you're doing a disservice to all when you don't know who you are and you're not practicing you.
So wonderful, so wonderful. Sleep,
Yes.
You sleep? You sleep?
I do sleep. I do. I was very dogmatic, and I was dogmatic because I was just so tired. Especially being physically fit, I found that I was like, not fit, but physical all the time. I love being up early in the morning, like 5:30 if I'm up, but even I love being up before the sun. Always love being up before the sun. Do I do it all the time now? Not at all. What's happening with the work that I'm doing, because I am a little bit busier in the evenings when I talk to people, I stay up a little later. It's great because I've had the energy to be able to. However, now I find that my sleep is all over the place, and I am not shy, nor am I anything. There's no guilt towards naps. I will take naps during the day. I love them. They're just luxurious, and it's just if I need it, why would I deny myself?
Especially when the body's healing through something, when we're going through something, and this is normal, and this is how we heal, is actually through, we have to take some sleep. And so don't be alarmed, and don't be surprised if all of a sudden you start getting more into health, and all of a sudden you're needing to sleep more, and you're needing to sleep in more, and you're needing to take a nap more. And it's okay. That's okay. That's a part of it. This is how the body heals, right?
That's not what the world says. It's like, well, wait, you're physically fit, like you're exercising, you need to have more energy, you can do more. And it's like, just listen to yourself. This is why I keep saying to everyone, just listen for the voice, listen for the body, listen to inside, go inside for the answers, because outside you won't necessarily find it. You won't find it.
So I think that segues right into the next one I've got here on my list is meditation. I think listening, I think you're saying
Yeah.
meditation.
Yes, meditation. So again, lately it's been more like a 2 15 minutes here and there kind of thing. And again, I don't time myself. I like to just sort of go from January, or I'll say just after Christmas of last year, to until I completed my studies. It was, I would say, probably about a good 2 hours. 2 hours meditation followed by an hour and a half by studying. And I would just stay silent and just have my mornings quiet and all that. And it again helps when it's dark. The earlier mornings with the sunshine, I'm like, what time do I have to wake up at? Like 3? And so I just love the quiet, and I love the candle in my room, and I love the silence. And that's where there's days where it's completely quiet, and then there's days where the voice or thoughts are going, and it's where I'm like, okay, this is what I have to do today. Like it's
Yeah.
just following that the inner spirit, the inner calmness. And meditation, absolutely. I do follow Sadhguru. I've like listening to him. I like the free resources that he has. I love doing the chanting. There's for me something that really pulls me to the Indian culture, as well as definitely a lot of the Eastern philosophies and whatnot. So I'm pulled more towards that, and learning what the words are and understanding what they mean. But I also do a lot of my own sort of affirmations and whatnot as well. So I think right now what I'm doing most of all, that is probably my strongest meditation and awareness. It's I just quietly sit and appreciate. I sit and appreciate. I watch like the leaves turning. I watch.
I am meeting my life with love. I am
Yeah,
meeting my life with appreciation. I am just
exactly.
appreciating my life. Yes.
Taking the time in every moment to just be like, this is like, who was I doing the other day? It's like, usually I listen to things while I wash dishes, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to really appreciate drying this glass and just notice and how amazing that this is all here in front of me, and just being really in tune for what's going on in front. Moments of that really.
Presence. Meditation is presence, just being present, just
Yeah.
breathe, watching the breath, being aware of the breath.
Yes.
And I'm sometimes I'm laying on my side, and it doesn't have to be a formal sitting. It doesn't have to be laying. It doesn't have to be certain thing. It just needs to be what it needs to be right now, listening to within, just breathing and being present with what's going on inside of my mind. And sometimes it's processing something negative inside of my mind, and just sitting with that, and finding some peace and acceptance in this little bit of a mess right now. It's okay. It's okay.
I'm telling you, John, like you're right on the money. Like that's it. The acceptance. Always.
Wonderful. Wonderful. What would you what would be the big takeaway from what's happened in the world? Like what would you like to tell people, like, about this whole thing? What do we need to say that this is so important to?
Well, it's neat, and thank you for asking that question. It's a great question. It's right now and where we are now, like this is where I find there's two things. Number one, I've said this whole time, as soon as it happened, like ask my friends, they all know. I'm like, this is I don't know if it's the apocalypse or anything. I don't see it that way, but it is certainly a form where you get the choice. This is where free will and choice come in. Where are you going to live in fear moving forward? Or are you going to live in love and trust? And I'm not on either side of anything. It's just like, are my choices based in fear? Are they chosen in love and trust and belief? And if you choose now either of those, that's what your life is going to look like moving forward. So I do think this is a very significant time, that if we're not paying attention to our energy, we're going to get stuck with things we might not want. So that's me. I don't know where it came from, but that was talked about right from the beginning. I've been saying it to everyone, just choose wisely, like be mindful of what you're choosing. Don't just do things because it's like, oh, I'm angry, I must choose this. I'm like, that's fear. Like, go the other way. Say, okay, you know what? I'm going to be okay with everything, and this is where I want to go. And so there's a lot of that. And the next thing is that this is going to be a huge time of compassion. And it's going to test a lot of people, because so many people want to be right, because there is so much fear that they want their choices to be, my choice was right. And either you're going to be right with your choice, meaning that it is what the narrative explains, or what, turns out, and you're going to be like, I'm glad that I made the right choice. And if you start going to people and saying, I knew it, I told you so, then you're not serving humanity in any kind of way. And if you were wrong, you have to also just sort of quiet down and be okay that you didn't have the right choice, and you did the best you knew with the information in front of you. So it's a great time of self-compassion and compassion towards others. This is where I know this is going to be the biggest thing, and then people are going to start getting more frustrated, and the louder the voices get that they're right and you're wrong and this, and it's just like, choose for yourself and move on. Choose for yourself and move on. Stay in your lane has been something I've been saying from the beginning. I love when someone first said that. Stay in your lane. Your lane is your lane. Your path is yours. There's nobody else walking your path. Your path is you. So you just keep walking it.
And it's okay if someone else is on a different lane, and it's okay if someone else is on a different path. And let's not be mad at someone else that chooses this or chooses that. Let's accept anyone that chooses this or chooses that. It's for a decision for the self. This is a personal time. I really think a big one for me is to go within, And you said it many times already today. Like, this is a time to go within. This is a time to learn to practice going within, empowering ourselves and generating ourselves from an inward self, from an inner focus.
Like the gifts, the core values, the spirit, everything like that. Too many people are just so attached to what's going on the outside, and if it brings them pure joy, wonderful. But if they're not happy and they're still expecting happiness by going out, it doesn't work out. Like it is, there has to be some sort of balance again, that balance of the in and out, the balance of the spirit and the logical and the emotional. And when you hit on all those three, the spiritual, the emotional, and the logical, in your decision making, in the way you live your life and you move forward, oh, it's just so nice. Like, it's the best energy possible. You have everything working for you, right?
I think we've done a good job here today, lovely. I really appreciated our time. I just wondered, do you know who's going to win the Stanley Cup?
God almighty. No, not at all.
Or the NBA? Do you know who's going to win the NBA?
So I'm, even barely watching the FIFA right now, but I
Oh,
believe Croatia. I know Croatia's in there, so I'm going to say Croatia. They're not right there right now. I know Czech's doing a lot, very, very well. So it's interesting. Like, sports is great and I love watching, but I will watch like the kids' sports or something like that. Like, again, it's too much for me to watch it with everyone else. I'll be on the back of a truck when like Croatia wins. I'll be like, yeah. But for now, yeah, I'm just keeping I'm the most exciting sports player in my life right now. So I'm gonna just keep paying attention to myself. So, but yay for everything else.
Well, I had a nice afternoon. I had a nice time chatting with you. I'm glad that we got the time to get together. Hopefully we can do this at least once a year or every 6 months or something. We just get together. We just share some time. We just share some energy. It's just a good thing for each of us. And I think.
I love it. You got it.
Awesome.
Every time I see him, I'm like, there he is. He's okay. Everything's okay. And life is all right. John's doing this. We're okay. And I love that. I think it's great. So listen, you are doing so much for so many, and I'm really grateful to you for that. And I'm excited to see what happens. Like, this is a great time. I'm glad we're connected, because I know that we hold a lot of values that are similar, and it's just kind of making sure we stay connected, and that's all. That's all.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much, Natalie. Thank you for your time. Thanks for
Enjoy
sharing with us.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Wonderful, wonderful. Saturday afternoons, weekend coaching workshops, Sunday mornings at 11. We're doing exercise, all here in our private group, all here on our YouTube channel, all here at Global Health and Wellness. Reach out if you'd like any help with anything with regards to natural health, natural healing, energy healing, emotional healing, making ourselves healthy and well with the loving energy of our universe. Thank you so much for watching.